whether you're a Sitecore member or not, if you can reach out to a Sitecore MVP, this is where you're going to really learn and grow. I mean, they're the stewards, if you will, to help pass that knowledge forward. So it's a great, again, that community that helps tie it all together. Yeah. Also, just happens to be some of the best people in the world. They're a lot of fun and global, so you get to really learn about other people's day to day and just have a lot of laughs with them at the same time. So work hard, play hard.
Welcome, and thank you for tuning in for another episode of the Sitecore Water Cooler, the casual conversation podcast dedicated to covering all things related to Sitecore, including product updates, implementation insights, getting the most out of your Sitecore investment, and more. I'm your co-host today, Maggie Burke, Sitecore Operations Director and Sitecore MVP at AmericanEagle.com. So we're going to talk about Sitecore MVP, right? I always kind of intro myself as being a Sitecore MVP, but people might be like, what the heck is that? So, at its core, the Sitecore MVP program is about more than just the technology and the platform. It's really about leadership, knowledge sharing, mentorship, and a passion for helping others succeed on the platform. So through candid conversations with the MVPs that we have from around the world, we'll uncover what it does and what drives this incredible community and inspire the next generation of contributors. So in each episode of this MVP series, we'll sit down with members of the Sitecore MVP community to explore their career journeys, the contributions that help them stand out, the lessons they've learned along the way, and the impact that the MVP program has had on their professional growth. In our kickoff episode today, we are joined by members of the AmericanEagle.com team to unpack what it means to be a part of the Sitecore MVP community and how they got there or intend to. So whether you're a longtime MVP, a first-time applicant, or simply just curious about what it takes to earn the recognition, this show is designed for you. Rick, Casey, Stephanie, Ahmed, Jason, welcome to the water cooler.
Thanks, Maggie.
Thanks, Maggie.
All right. So back in the studio, want to get some intros from you guys because we've got some members in here that are longstanding Sitecore MVP members, some that just got into the community, and then some that are aspiring to be a part of the community. So with that, let's maybe start with the members that are already in the MVP community. So Rick, I'll hand it over to you. Can you tell us a little bit about just who you are, what your role is at the company, and how many years you've actually been in the MVP community?
You bet. Thanks, Maggie. Rick Bauer, AKA Site Cordial, back in the days of Twitter, now X. I don't even know if that anywhere else that shows up. Yeah. So I am the director of Sitecore Customer Strategy at American Eagle. I am a strategy MVP. I have my 8th MVP. Ooh. And I also worked at Sitecore for almost 4 years. And while I was there, I helped manage with a lean and mean team, the Sitecore strategy, basically everything to do with it, from helping recruit to the application process, and then helping with some webinars along the way as well.
So you've seen both sides
I've seen both sides of it.
Which we love.
We'll get into
that for sure.
So
Casey, how about yourself?
Yeah. Casey Stanitz, Senior Sitecore Account Manager at American Eagle. I've been in the Sitecore space a long time, but just a 2-time Ambassador MVP. Really excited just be a part of this community. It's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Ahmed, how about you?
My name is Ahmed Dukour. I'm a Sitecore Technical Director at American Eagle. And I am Sitecore Technology MVP for 9 times so far. Been
almost to those double digits.
Almost
the plate.
Yeah, right?
26. So I've been working with Sitecore for almost 16 years now, and my first MVP was in 2015.
Very nice. Very nice. I already introed myself, but at least in the MVP world, I'm also in the Ambassador MVP community part, and I've a 4-time MVP, I think, at this point. I'm always kind of lose track of the years, but yes, I think four is what I'm at now. And then we've got some aspiring MVPs on here as well. So Stephanie, Jason, can you guys just introduce yourselves and maybe what category you're looking to apply to? Steph, we'll start with you.
Yeah. So hi, everybody. I'm Stephanie Lanier. I'm a senior project manager here at American Eagle. I have been kind of working in Sitecore. I started back in 2018, took a little break, and then came back to American Eagle.
Came back full steam.
Came to American Eagle around 2023, and kind of I would say maybe starting last year, really got interested in the MVP community. So I'm currently pursuing my Ambassador MVP.
Right. Very nice. And Jason, how about you?
Hi, I'm Jason Tilday. I'm an architect here at American Eagle. Been here for a few years. Prior to that, I actually worked for Sitecore.
Yeah, we've got multiple people here that used to work at Sitecore. So again, kind of seeing it from both lens. And I think that's a good segue into talking to Rick. If you wouldn't mind just maybe explaining, because you have the lens of both sides and you were kind of on the judging panel at one point, you've been part of the active community of being an MVP. Could you tell us a little bit about just what the Sitecore MVP community is?
Happy to. I mean, you're not the only person in the room that's already said community. So that's the buzzword. The big word. I mean, first of all, MVP, most valuable professional. Let's just get the acronym out there. Yeah. It is, honestly, I think I'm going to approach it from Sitecore side for a second and say it's kind of the secret sauce. The Sitecore community helps forge the pathway and basically drive the momentum of Sitecore along the way. It helps validate what Sitecore is working on. It's really really hard to describe driving force, right. But it's, again, it's broken up into 3 levels. There's technology, there's strategy, there's ambassador, all kind of different ranges as the names might describe. There's been a couple of other Sitecore MVP monikers in the past that don't exist, like Sitecore Cloud. Yeah. But anyway, so it's the main 3. And really it's innovators and deep thinkers on all things Sitecore. These are your Sitecore experts. They're the ones that will help you, really start to dive in deep when either you're learning about Sitecore for the first time, or you are building on Sitecore, or it's a service ongoing with Sitecore. These are your superstars that can really help you understand the platform, and then inside the community, it's the ones that will help you also learn and grow. So if you are whether you're a Sitecore member or not, if you can reach out to a Sitecore MVP, this is where you're going to really learn and grow. I mean, they're the stewards, if you will, to help pass that knowledge forward. So it's a great, again, that community that helps tie it all together. Yep. Also, just happens to be some of the best people in the world. They're a lot of fun and global, so you get to really learn about other people's day-to-day and just have a lot of laughs with them at the same time. So it's work hard, play hard.
Absolutely. I mean, again, I think we've talked on this podcast before about Sitecore Symposium kind of being like Sitecore Summer Camp, and that's like almost like the counselors of Sitecore Summer Camp. The counselors are MVP Summit. It's like everybody getting together and, you're about to kick off the conference itself. And to your point, it's a lot of fun times, but a lot of knowledge sharing and things like that. And I liked the sentiment about it really being the secret sauce. I think, even at AmericanEagle.com, we work with a lot of different platforms and different things. We have a lot of strong partnerships, but you don't see it often that these different software companies have a strong MVP community like Sitecore does. So it, is really a testament to that group. So thanks, Rick. I mean, I think it was good to just kind of get, again, the kind of inside view of it because you've had to be on the panel as well. But wanted to talk to you guys about just some questions around what got you into wanting to be a part of the community. I mean, what originally motivated some of you to become active in the Sitecore community, whether it was writing blog posts or maybe it was speaking sessions and things like that? So Casey, maybe over to you. Like what originally motivated you to just want to become active in the community?
Yeah. Honestly, I thought like the community was a big part of that. And just like when you would see an issue or you'd run into something and you'd try and find out more information about it. You always see blogs from other, whether they're MVPs or just folks within the Sitecore community that like, it's all just like a knowledge dump and they're just trying to help. And it's just one goal at the end is just kind of uniting the community. And that's kind of what led me in. I had some really good mentors and folks around me when I started with Sitecore.
Yeah.
So that was also a big driver. It was just like my other colleagues at American Eagle, just like being a part of the program. Yep. I was like, what is that? And then I kind of learned more information about it. And I was like, man, that would be awesome. I would love to be able to be recognized as a Sitecore MVP one day. And now I'm a 2-time MVP, and
there you go. And keeping it going.
Yep.
And let's be real. I mean, a part of it is feeling like it's a little bit of the cool kids club. You're like, oh, you're going to like, whether it's symposium, whether it's, user groups, anything like that. Like you hear Sitecore MVP and you're like, well, I want to be a part of that club. And I even remember one of our other times talking about this, like Alex Lentz, who's also a multi-year MVP on our team. He was even saying like leading into symposium, it was so cool to like go to MVP Summit because you hear about it all the time, but it's behind closed doors. It's behind a curtain. And you're like, well, what do they really talk about in there and stuff? So I definitely think that, leads into some of that motivation. Do you guys remember the moment that you actually found out you were an MVP? Because I'd love to hear from you guys. And I even have my own story, but like, do you remember? I mean, Rick, you might have to go way back.
I was going to say, I don't. No. Yeah, I mean, I just remember it was the great feeling of getting in behind that closed door, and I'll just add on to that, and we can pass that to somebody else. But that behind the closed door is a real thing in that the MVP community has to sign an NDA, and is privileged to advanced information from Sitecore. Oh. So there is a reality of information behind that, and so it benefits our customers. If you are a customer MVP, it benefits your company directly. So there are some benefits, but do I remember? I remember feeling a lot of joy. It was with a close knit group of people that also became MVPs at the same time. And it was very exciting to all of a sudden be sharing that together on Slack and having that moment, and then being welcomed into the MVP Slack channel is a big thing. So.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I have a funny story.
Oh yeah?
Go on.
So back in like 2010, my older brother was able to be awarded with the Microsoft MVP.
Oh, okay.
So for anyone who doesn't know, Microsoft also have an MVP program as well, similar to Sitecore.
Mm-hmm.
And
not as cool. But...
Not as cool, yeah. So back then he was like the first Microsoft MVP in the Middle East.
Wow,
so
that's cool.
That was cool.
All
so maybe one day I can become an MVP. So then I started working with Sitecore, and I found out they have an MVP program. So I applied in 2013, the first time. Then I got it in 2015.
Yep.
And I still remember the moment I read the email. I called my brother. I told him, hey, guess who has an MVP now? We have two in the family. So.
There you go. Now we can compete.
Yeah.
And I think that's good to mention too, because, I think most of us can probably attest to, you don't get it the first time you apply. Like it's not an easy club to join. That's for sure. But that's, I think, what makes it more exciting when you do finally get that. I remember when I first got my MVP acceptance email, I was one on PTO, so I didn't see it come through. And I also think it might have gone to spam. So John Price actually ruined the surprise for me in the best way. But he messaged me and was like, did you get a fun email with a smiley face? And I was like, what? What are you talking about? And I am buried in emails coming back from PTO. And then that was the one. It was like, oh, and at first I told him, I was like, no, I didn't get an email and I just thought that I just hadn't gotten it. But then lo and behold, it went through. So it was exciting times. Casey, how about you?
Yeah, no, it's a funny you bring up the spam filter because that was my first memory too of we have a chat with all of our aspiring and current MVPs, and the chatter goes around very early in the morning because we have some like Mohammed Sayem, some of those folks who start obviously before us, and they're like, hey, who got their MVP email? Who got their MVP email? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm not seeing anything. Yeah. I'm not seeing anything. We had some other guys that are like, yeah, there's nothing in there. And then now we know, hey, we need to check spam. We need to make sure the emails get released. And and it's just
now we know the process.
Now we know the process every year. And if there's any new people, we always, hey, make sure you check that spam filter. It might be black behind it.
Yeah,
so.
Don't let your hopes go.
The yeses do go out first.
Yeah. Which is fair. So at the same time, you're like, well, maybe I just didn't. But nope, always check your spam, people. Always check your spam. So always fun. Looking back, is there a contribution that you guys are the most proud of? Whether it was a cool blog post that you wrote that really maybe cracked the code on something, or maybe it was one of the first times that you got on stage at a conference or a user group. Any that you look back on and you're the most proud of?
I can share my experience. So back in the days, during the days of Stack Overflow and Stack Exchange, there used to be unspoken like competition about how many points you can get on your answers on the platform. So like it was like every day, like what is there a question that nobody answered yet? Can I answer it and then get points? So yeah, that was like when like back then when Stack Overflow was, you know, the main place where like you can have your questions answered. That was like where everyone was trying to share, like, you know, add to their contributions and be able to like get the MVP for it. So
okay. And now is it just like who can build the coolest marketplace app?
Yeah, I mean, and maybe like blogs and you know, user groups. But back then, like, you know, that was Sitecore was focusing on that.
Yeah, for sure. How about you guys? Any contributions that?
Yeah, it was actually before I got my first MVP. I got to speak on at Sitecore Symposium in 2022 when it was in Chicago. Well, maybe that was 2023. Can't remember.
I think you're right. I think it was 2022.
Yeah,
but yeah, and so all the years blend.
That was kind of like that year kind of was a turning point for me. Like, I was like, hey, like you got to get serious about these contributions. You can't just post a few blogs. You can't be active in the community, but you really got to put some thought leadership out there. You got to really invest in yourself, and you also got to put some time into it. It's not just something that, like, if you put minimal effort, you're going to get minimal back. So once I started that kind of transition forward of like, hey, full steam ahead, like that's where it kind of clicked to me. Like, I spoke at Symposium in 2022. The next few years, I was speaking more at user groups. I was blogging more. I was doing more podcasts, things like that. So it started to click and click and click, and content then just became king.
Yeah, content is king. There you go.
I'll add to it. Yeah, many years ago, it feels like, friend and technology MVP still to this day, Mr. Corey Smith. He and I believe strongly in a strategist and technologist working together to do
makes the most successful things happen.
So good. And we did a Sitecore user group or SUG speaking tour, and we did 22 cities. And so, and I think I want to say like 12 of them were in person. And so we literally did 3 stops in Canada. We did West Coast, East Coast, Midwest, and I think we did something in Texas. I might be confusing that, but yeah, we did a lot. And then we did some international ones just via Zoom at the time. But it was, when that was all done, it was like, I can't believe we did a 22 city tour with this content. And the last one, I believe, was in Boston. And at that point, it just felt like I don't need notes. I don't need anything. I can just like riff on this deck at this point. It's such a great feeling to be able to do that. So.
Yeah, just throw in those extra kind of tidbits and stuff. So that's fun.
How about you, Maggie?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's been a lot of different things. Obviously, I've had fun at any of the speaking engagements and things, especially when they're with clients and stuff. I'd be hard pressed to not talk about the one with Citadel just because I love those ladies. But that being said, I also feel like one of my favorite contributions is this podcast in general and all of the cool things that we've gotten to talk about on it and some of the great guests that we've had and things like that, because it really just opens it up. I'll give a shout out to our producer, Brian, because he's always working his editing magic and it's much appreciated. But I do think that our water cooler conversations are some of my favorite contributions for sure. I want to ask you guys, what role do you guys feel like mentorship actually plays in the Sitecore MVP community? Because, I remember that when they first introduced the kind of Sitecore or MVP like mentor-mentee program, like I joined it as someone who needed to get mentored. I was not, I was aspiring at that point. And, super helpful to just have someone that kind of was, a tenured MVP giving great advice, kind of keeping accountability there for like contributions and things like that. And then on the flip side, the following year, I was an MVP and actually was able to mentor 2 people that successfully got their MVPs that year as well. So what do you guys feel like the role of actual like mentorship plays into that?
Well, I'll start with that. Required.
Yeah.
I mean, like it.
That's right.
In the application, there's a who is your mentor, or who are you who might be your mentee if you're an existing MVP. So it's not a required field, but I would say it is an absolute starting place.
Yes.
So I may come back to this comment, but I think it's the right way, the right entry point.
Definitely. And it's, to your point, extremely helpful. I mean, that if you're looking on how to even get started or where to even start, having someone to even just use as a sounding board that has successfully gotten their MVP and can give that insight into what are the maybe topic areas that you should focus on, or how often should you be posting, or maybe what are some good outlets that you're not thinking about, whether it is certain user groups that are happening or certain Slack channels that you should be a part of and things like that. Anything from you guys in terms of just the role that maybe either whether it was when you were getting mentored or what you're doing now and how you think that plays out?
Yeah, no, I think going back to what I said before, like that was a big turning point for me. When I was trying to do MVP on my own, I would get discouraged. I would feel like I'm not doing enough. I wasn't holding myself accountable enough. But then as soon as I kind of got linked into the mentorship program, it kind of got me to turn that corner almost. I worked with 2 great mentors in the past, and that kind of got me that boost. They got me that the accountability that I needed to kind of be like, hey, you need to keep things organized. You need to keep things active towards this goal of getting Sitecore MVP. Like they kind of helped me in that path so tremendously. And this year, like being a 2-time MVP now, I'm helping a colleague right now who's an aspiring MVP, just to kind of keep him accountable, be that sounding board, be the just someone who he needs to bounce off ideas. He needs to kind of work through, hey, like I can't get this blog out. Like what do I need to do to get this blog out, or what information do I need to kind of get in here? So yeah, mentorship is key, and it's a great path.
Absolutely. And in that regard, who do you guys think maybe had the biggest impact on your journey within the Sitecore community? And it doesn't necessarily have to be even into the Sitecore MVP community, but Sitecore in general. Do you guys have someone that you could pinpoint that had the biggest impact on your journey?
Yeah, Chris Nash, and then Lars, basically kind of the OG S-Boss team, if you will. It might even predate the S-Boss team, but like some of the OG Sitecore strategists. I learned a lot on how to, think about strategy around Sitecore back then. So, I mean, I'll say there's too many people to list.
Course,
I mean, I think that's again, the beauty of the community. There's always somebody that's willing to help you out, but just going back to like kind of how it all started, that was like that entry point for me. So.
Definitely.
I don't know if you guys remember John West. He was the original CTO of Sitecore. He I think co-founded Sitecore back in 2004. Yeah, back in the days, like he used to be very active in the community. He would answer all the questions, like be there for anyone. So that I definitely was like, I want to be like John West. I just want to be as helpful as
I want to be like him. Yes, very cool.
Yeah. I know he's no longer working with Sitecore, but he was originally like the reason I just wanted to be part of the community.
He still shows up every now and then on some like the lunches.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Very cool.
Yeah, for me, obviously John and Maggie, both at American Eagle.
He has to tag my name in it because he knows that if he just said JP, I'd give him a side eye.
Pretty much. But no, those two, I mean, the amount of years that I've spent working with them, just the ability to bounce ideas off of, to be like, hey, I'm struggling. I need to kind of quick sync on something. Just like they kind of got me moving forward. And then going back to the mentorship, like I had 2 really good mentors that kind of helped also keep me propelling forward. So I've had a lot of key members. Also, one person I love, anytime I can go to hear her speak at symposium, I always try to, is Jackie Baxter. Yep. She's an incredible mind. She's always thinking about content and just different ways and strategy. So it's just, I always love anytime she's got a session or a webinar and things like that. So
yeah,
she's one of the best.
Yes, she is. Yes, she is. I mean, if you guys could go back, because I do want to get it over to our aspiring MVPs, but the kind of last question I have for the current MVPs is, if you could go back and give your pre-MVP self just maybe one piece of advice, what would it be? And maybe, think of it as speaking to what would you tell Stephanie and Jason is like one piece of advice for kind of breaking into the MVP community?
I would say to myself, like, you have a lot of knowledge that you can share. That because sometimes like you think like maybe what I have, it's not like doesn't qualify as good quality. Like you always have a lot of like knowledge and things that maybe others don't know. Even like if you think like it's you might think it's common knowledge. Like, no, there is always like something you can share, write a blog about, or like just talk about. And
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, that's great. Because even if it helps one person, that's helpful to put out there. So I love that.
Yeah, I think for me, it's just, keep at it, keep trying. I think I tried and applied maybe 3 to 5 times before I got my first Sitecore MVP. So if you get a deny, or if you don't get accepted that first year or first couple years, just keep at it. Just keep your head down and keep working hard, keep producing quality content and working hard.
I'll just kind of play off and echo what's been said, but you have a voice and you have just a way of saying things, whether you know it or not, right? So it's just like, go out there, create content, and to add on to that creation process, whether it's writing, speaking, creating a video, whatever that is, it's a muscle. So it's going to get better the more you do it. So keep on doing it. Like, don't worry about that first time that you put something out there. It may not be your best work. Maybe it will be. Maybe you'll do something great out of the gate, but just keep going. And, it's amazing what the kind of the collection of what you put out, what that starts to look like. And so all of a sudden you'll look back and be like, holy cow, I have, an entire YouTube channel or whatever, it's just
Absolutely.
like, just keep going.
No, I love that. And I think that, to your point, the first time that you actually, whether it's posting a blog or getting on stage or doing a podcast or a webinar, like, to think of like any of our first contributions. And if you look back on them now, you're like, wow, and it may not have been the best thing in the world. And I'd probably cringe at some of the things I said back in the day, but at the same time, it does make it part of that cool journey. So I think those are great pieces of advice. And with that, want to bring it over to our aspiring MVPs because, we've talked enough about just kind of how great it is to be a part of the community. But, speaking to people that aren't necessarily a part of it yet, when did you first realize that the MVP program was something that you wanted to be a part of? And, Steph, maybe I can start with you. Like, was there a point in time that you can pinpoint that you realized, this is something that I would actually want to kind of contribute to?
Yeah. So like I said, I started my career, I guess, in Sitecore kind of around 2018, took a little bit of a break. And then when I started with AmericanEagle.com back in 2023, honestly, Maggie, I didn't even know that PMs could be a MVP. Yep. I honestly always thought it had to do more with like the technical experts inside of things. So when I joined and learned that you were an MVP, that kind of shifted my view in the program. And I know one of the things when I started here, what I was really aiming for was becoming a trusted partner for our clients. That was something for like the next step in my career. Yeah. And I think that really shifted. Okay, hey, being a Sitecore MVP shows them that like I am a trusted partner. Yeah. I am putting in that effort to not just better myself, but better the community, which in return will better them. Yeah. So I think that was really where it started. And then realizing that I didn't need to have all of the answers. Yep. I think you've really helped me understand that one too, like sharing that knowledge with our team, and then now sharing it with the community as a whole.
Yeah, no, that's great. And I think that's a really key point that you hit on too. And I love it is that I think even I didn't really realize that being a Sitecore MVP was something that went beyond the technology, right? I thought it was a very technical focused area. And then realizing that, no, there are a lot of people that are more on the strategy side or on the management side that are a part of that community, really makes you feel like, okay, this is something that I want to be a part of. And then to your point, I think that's also great too, that it does establish that level of trust with the clients and the customers that we talk to, that if they're talking to somebody that is a Sitecore MVP, like there is some, strong foundation there and stuff as well. So I think both those points were great. Jason, how about you? When did you first realize that you kind of wanted to be a part of the Sitecore MVP program? Is it because Casey's got the sweatshirt on and you're like, I want one of those, or?
No, kind of a different journey for me. I worked for a small company called Hedgehog, and
where Jackie Baxter was. So
that's
full
right.
circle.
I actually worked with her. I worked with her on SBOS, which is great. So as you as some may know, Sitecore ended up buying up Hedgehog. So I kind of started getting interested, and then we got bought out. And then if you work at Sitecore, you can't pursue MVP.
Rick knows that well.
Self-servicing. Yeah, exactly. So for years, I kind of sat on the sideline and knew exactly what the program was. I saw all the other people in the community. I kept thinking to myself, well, I shut out.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I came over here to American Eagle, and then I bumped into a whole crop of, of MVPs, and they kind of re-sparked the interest. Like, okay, that tether has been released, and I can start pursuing it again.
Yeah.
So, I've always wanted to be a part of it. It's just kind of a hiatus mid-career waiting for the chance to do it.
You had to wait till you weren't in the Sitecore world. So that makes complete sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of an odd start.
Of course. No, that's great though. Was publishing the first kind of blog or presentation or anything that you guys did, was that intimidating at all? In terms of, because I think it goes back to Rick's point, right? Or even Ahmed about like just kind of the knowledge that people have. All of a sudden you're like, but where do I start, or how do I do it, or like what do I post, and is it going to be cringeworthy? Who knows? But like, was it intimidating for you guys for your first kind of contribution?
I would say yes. I think for me and my perspective, I really was trying to in the beginning find my niche or find kind of what I could put out there that would be beneficial.
Yep.
And then when you're surrounded by so many knowledgeable people, and obviously even at American Eagle, so many strong MVPs, you feel like you do need to be 100% expert before you put anything out there.
Mm-hmm.
And I struggled with what perspective do I have to bring as a project manager that's not already out there.
Yeah.
But then as I started doing some research, I actually noticed there wasn't a ton from a project management perspective. And so I think that's really where I dug my heels in. There are so many project managers in this field and that work within this platform, and publishing. I did my first blog, I would say back in February. So obviously kind of early on in my journey, but wanted to be able to share my experiences or my lessons learned that I've done in my projects, because I know that could be beneficial for other project managers out there, or even some internal teams that maybe are managing their own projects, that they can look to us and be able to pull on those experiences and lessons learned.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think, again, even if it's helping one person, it's helping somebody, right? And that's what's so great about the MVP community, is that it is so much about knowledge sharing and those lessons learned. And I do think, I mean, one of the best blogs that I read from you, Steph, was about just kind of like the world of Sitecore is changing a bit in terms of like how it was in the XP days to versus now. And you're right to say that not a lot of people really think about it of how does that mean from a management perspective, and like with these migration projects, like should you be looking at them differently? And I thought that the content that you wrote around like the shift of mindset around it, it's like it doesn't mean your skill set has to change, but just how you approach it and your mindset around it. So, shout out to her blog. We might have her on the podcast to talk about it and things like that. But Jason, how about you? Was it intimidating? What was your first contribution? I feel like it might have been one of the podcasts that you were on. And stuff. But was that intimidating to join? I hope we're not too scary.
I'm not very active, in podcasts. And of course that was intimidating. It's not something I'm used to doing. And for me, it's agonizing over what subject, to tackle, because you don't want to just tackle the same thing someone else has already written 15 other blogs about. You don't want to just do something boring. So the pressure's on to find something different or unique, or a unique perspective on things. Definitely intimidating.
Can I make an emphasis off something that was said in both cases? So first of all, Steph, I love the project manager approach on this. I think that's a great voice and such a unique lens to be talking about Sitecore. So that's bravo, fantastic. Both of you kind of alluded to the I'm trying to look for something that wasn't written already. And Jason, you said, don't write something that people have written about 10 times. Okay, fair. We'll do better with something that's completely original. But again, your spin on it could stand out. Also, people consume the same content from different voices all the time. I mean, we go to YouTube. We're going. It's just like how many videos are there on pick a topic.
Right.
So I would say okay, don't plagiarize. That is a non-starter in the Sitecore space. You will not get accepted. And that is detected very immediately by the entire team along with AI written things. But certainly, don't hesitate to write a topic that means something to you, even if it's been written about already. I would say it's still good content.
Absolutely. No, that's great advice.
Fair enough.
Now he's going to go.
There you go.
50 blogs.
Opened up your library.
There we go.
Yep.
So I guess from that standpoint, what do you guys think aspiring MVPs often underestimate, since you guys are kind of in your journey and stuff now? Is there any piece that you feel like, you're like, oh, this was going to be a lot harder than I thought, or, oh, this kind of area of it maybe is a little bit smoother? Anything that you guys can speak to there?
Now, honestly, I'd like to piggyback on something that Casey said very early on is, the amount of work required to do it. Like I took a stab at it. I was way too late getting started on the last cycle, but I figured I'd try. We got on a podcast and I was trying to make some contributions. And then I realized that, this was, even though I didn't think I'd make it the first year because it was so late starting, I started to realize that there's a lot more, to the contribution and the work than I'd originally thought. But that's it's something that I've learned, and that I'm just gonna have to pick up the pace and start doing a lot more.
Yeah, and kind of to build off of some of the things that we said earlier in the podcast is I don't know if it's as much about, we obviously want to have good content. Content is king, as Casey says, but we want to make sure that we have that consistency. I think that there's a lot of underestimating of the power of consistency. We don't need to have a blog every single week. We don't need to make sure that we're on a podcast or at Sitecore user group every single week, but looking for ways to engage in the community, whether that be a small LinkedIn post, commenting on other LinkedIn posts to continue the conversation. I think looking for all of those smaller things that can add up to a larger contribution over time. And to the point of, you might not get it your first year. It might take a backlog of items that you have done over a couple of years that then prove that you are a consistent voice in the community.
Absolutely. Oh, that's great. Are there any contribution areas you guys would maybe want to explore a little bit more that you guys haven't quite yet?
I would really love for Atlanta's Sitecore user group to come back.
Yep. All right.
Obviously, so I'm based out of, I'm based on a little north of Atlanta, Georgia. And so I know our team at AmericanEagle.com is able to participate in the Chicago user group quite a lot. But being able to go to those and present some of the items that we've been working on, some of the projects that are going on, I think that would be awesome. This obviously is my first podcast as well. So getting myself kind of out of the comfort zone of being able to hide behind a screen and getting in front of others to share our knowledge or my knowledge.
Definitely.
And then within my blog, I kind of want to get more, and it could be blog or LinkedIn, but maybe creating content. I know there have been a lot of tools that I've seen more on the technical side, right? Of hey, here are some recommendations of how we've handled this problem, and being able to provide a tool for that side of it. Maybe being able to find a way to put out templates that we have created, or something that's made something a little bit easier from a project management perspective. I think that would be beneficial as well.
Definitely. Jason, how about you?
Yeah, for me, I'd probably say user groups too. I live in a rural area right now, and there's
you want to see the bright lights in the city, and
yeah, I live in a very agrarian area. There's nothing out here, so it's kind of hard for me to get out to a user group. I mean, I used to live in Charlotte and attended to other user groups for other .NET and other technology stacks, but definitely finding and getting involved in a user group that's at least somewhere near me would definitely be something I'd like to try to find.
Yeah. I hear, North Carolina and Atlanta can't be that far from each other. Maybe you guys should just combine.
Georgia's a goodly time.
I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, no, I think it's great. And I think you guys would both be very good at, speaking engagements and things like that. And I think, user groups are a great area to kind of get your feet wet with it, get it, in front of a crowd, and then just build yourselves up to, more of like the kind of city tours, subcons, symposiums and things like that. So we'll need to get those on the list for you guys. All right. So in typical fashion, I need to ask some fun questions just because, what is life without a little fun, right? So in that, if the Sitecore MVP community had yearbook awards, so let's just say, we're going into Symposium, we're going to go back to Orlando, we've got MVP Summit and they're handing out yearbooks. What award would you guys win? And I guess we could make it, what would AmericanEagle.com win? Or if you guys have one specifically for yourselves, what would those be?
For myself, sturdiest liver.
Okay. Well, that's fair. Okay. You don't talk about those events.
Oh, I'm sorry. Awards. How about most user groups?
Okay.
most
yeah,
user
especially
groups
after the
attended
22,
and spoken at. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair. That's a good one. That's a good one. I personally got most sarcastic in high school, so I feel like that might carry over. But I don't know. I don't know what people are talking about.
I could see that maybe a little bit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Casey endorses that immediately.
Yeah, rude.
Could there be a category for most aspiring?
Yeah, for sure. Most aspiring. I like that one for you guys. That's a good one.
I was gonna give myself professional cat hurdler.
Okay, fair. But you have 2 dogs.
Yes, but I'm talking about it's harder to herd cats.
Herd cats, got it.
World.
That didn't. That's fair. That's fair.
Good.
I was like, wait a minute. Okay, that's fair. Okay. All right. How about some rapid fire? So, blog post or public speaking?
Speaking.
Blogs.
How about you guys on the call?
Blogs.
Okay.
Probably vlogs.
All right. All right.
Yeah.
How about virtual events versus in-person events?
In person.
Definitely in person.
Yeah, in person, yeah.
No, I think that one's fair. I think the only thing I will say is planning virtual events is a lot easier than planning in-person ones. But I will agree that in-person events obviously are more fun. All right, how about this one? Finish this sentence. The Sitecore community has helped me blank.
The Sitecore community has helped me advance my career.
Okay.
The Sitecore community has helped me continue to strive to be the best version of myself.
Okay. Wow, deep.
Wow.
Let's say the Sitecore community helped me grow my knowledge.
Okay. All right.
Not just a career. I was given the short answer.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'd say maybe finding my niche.
Yeah, I feel like the Sitecore community has helped me really just, get closer to this platform and the understandings of it, but also just get closer to the people within the community, especially the MVP community. I think there's that layer that we've talked about before of once everybody's in a room, it really strips down it doesn't matter what partner you're at. It really does not matter what part of the MVP community you are, whether it's ambassador, strategy, technology. It really just kind of lays that all at the table and everybody just gets to understand and be a part of how do we make this platform the best that it can be with our customers. So I really think that that's what the Sitecore community has helped me to do. And with that, I do want to ask you guys just one final question because we've been talking so much about, being a part of the community, but also aspiring to be a part of the community. What is one action that listeners to this podcast can take tomorrow just to become more involved in the community? And of course, we can sit here and say, write a blog post and things like that, but maybe that's not as easy. So what's one thing that you think someone who's aspiring to be an MVP could wake up tomorrow and do to become more active?
I gave my answer away already. Find a mentor.
Yeah, there you go. That's a good one.
Yeah, I would say research the program and finding a mentor is incredibly
definitely
important.
Yeah, just don't be afraid of sharing your knowledge. It doesn't have to be a blog. You can just answer someone's question online or something like that. So, but yeah.
I would say LinkedIn is your best friend as well. That one was for me. Like, I think being more active in the community, there's so much knowledge and so much knowledge sharing happening on LinkedIn. So get on there, get active, start following other people, and really just see what this community is all about. So Rick, Casey, Stephanie, Ahmed, Jason, thank you for joining us at the water cooler today. And we hope to have you back on the water cooler again soon. Thanks for listening to the Sitecore Water Cooler Podcast. Find out more information about AmericanEagle.com's Sitecore services and today's topic in the description below. This episode is brought to you by AmericanEagle.com Studios. I'm your host, Maggie Burke, and special thanks to our executive producers, Renee Nelson and Brian Winger.